Last time we talked about the process of generating ideas and organizing your ideas to prepare to draft your process essay. Now before you worry, think about what you've already done. You've already created a thesis with a pattern for development. You've gotten feedback from your classmates and your instructor, and perhaps even in live lecture. You've generated ideas with your discovery activity, and you've organized ideas with those plannings. You want to make sure you have the thesis, discovery, and planning in front of you. And now you're ready to take a swing at drafting. Yes, pun intended. So when you start drafting the process essay, write the easiest part first. That's generally the body, because that's what you know how to do. The introduction and the conclusion kind of wrap the whole process in a package. So develop the major sections one at a time. Remember that each body paragraph or each section will follow the same order as the pattern for development in your thesis. So in our sample thesis, we talked about baking an apple pie needing fresh ingredients, appropriate utensils, and ample preparation time. So your first body paragraph needs to be about fresh ingredients. Your second, about appropriate utensils, and your third about ample preparation time. Now it might be that you know more about the ingredients than you do about any other part of the process. So you might want to write that first. Or you may know about the actual preparation and have to think more about the ingredients and the utensils. So write the preparation first. You can always reorganize the paragraphs. You don't have to write them in the order they're eventually going to appear. Then once you've gotten that body written, go back to the introduction. This way you're introducing the actual essay you've written and not trying to make an essay fit your introduction. Your main point is in your first paragraph, your second main point is in your third main point, etc. Also turn off your internal editor. Remember, you are drafting. You will be looking back over this and over this and over this before you submit it. You do want to make sure that you use transitions. There's a list of transitions in our textbook, but you're also looking at transitions that vary. Starting the process of baking an apple pie requires selecting appropriate fresh ingredients. The next step requires the final step. So remember, you're varying those transitions. You don't want to say first, second, third all the time. You're using transitions to establish sequential and chronological relationships between steps in a process. In other words, you're bridging the gap. The introduction identifies the process and under what circumstances it might be performed. For example, you could bake a pie for a party, holiday, family reunion, or a variety of situations. Introduces whatever preliminary steps may need to be needed. For example, you may have to decide whether you're baking it in advance, whether you're baking it the day of, whether you're using a traditional recipe or a newer type of recipe. Lots of decisions to be made. Go through some of those. And then the thesis, the one you developed in Module 3, but perhaps a slightly revised version of it will be the last sentence of your thesis. So then the body of the essay is each idea from the thesis following in order. Getting the fresh ingredients, finding the proper equipment, allowing ample baking time. And each of these will be in paragraph format. And so that paragraph format will follow the structure of a good paragraph that we looked at in Module 2. The conclusion starts with a restated thesis. And this always kind of worries people, but it's a lot easier than it sounds. Making a homemade apple pie requires fresh ingredients, proper utensils, and ample time for preparation. That's your original thesis. With fresh ingredients, the proper utensils, and ample time for preparation, anyone can prepare a delicious homemade apple pie. That's your restated thesis. Same idea, different words. That signals your reader that the conclusion is there, which means you never should be using something like in conclusion. So your conclusion starts with the reworded thesis, briefly reviews the procedure's major stages, and then reinforces the thesis by summarizing the process. That's a clincher. That ties it all together and puts a bow on it. You don't want your reader looking for another page or another sentence. And guess what? You just did it again. You just went through another process. You've been through 2 processes now. Discovery and planning, and now drafting. You can do this. We'll talk soon. Bye.